What a privilege it is. What a privilege it is to once again share with you. This is an exciting time. Our hearts are still aching for the situation in Ukraine. We're, of course, stunned by the massive amount of funds, fundraising event. Of course, secular event here in the UK raised 260 million, according to what we picked up on the news in a period of a day or two. So that's, of course, continues to be one of our prayer targets. We have quite a few OM people involved in that. Um, I wonder how many of you have received the special 60th anniversary newsletter. If you got it by email, I'd love to send you a hard copy. And it's easy to get just sending me an email. That March letter is a very, very special letter. I also appreciate hearing from anybody who received it, especially in the States. It goes out bulk mailing, and I wonder if sometimes they're all lost in the post office. So hearing from people that they even got this letter, which I share many, many important thoughts, especially about the big June 8th event in London to celebrate our 60 years of ministry in this country and the 60th anniversary of OM. Some of you have seen on Facebook that one of the ways I'm celebrating these 60 years is by distributing, I hope, 5,000 free copies of Roy Hession's great Calvary Road. I've been rereading, especially the American edition, a little different than this one. This offer is only good for USA, Canada, UK, and India. The shipping is too costly to other parts of the world, and we're, of course, on overload. So I hope some of you, if you have already emailed me, they want 10 copies. It has to be at least 10 copies for you to be involved in that. The verse I want to especially share this week is from Philippians 4 and verse 9. Finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. What a challenge to be more positive. And that verse helps me to share something that I've been thinking about for many years. Reasons. I have 20 reasons why I love the UK. Of course, I lived in India for a while. In fact, in our first 15 years, we lived in about 15 to 20 different countries. But in God's providence, we ended up here in the UK. And now we're both UK citizens planning to stay here. This in no way is to put down our birth country, which we love. And I could do a similar message if I was sitting in my hometown of New Jersey about the USA. And if I were sitting in Bombay, I could do it about India or Madrid or Rome or Brussels or other cities where we've had the opportunity of living, like Bangkok and Kathmandu. If I were sitting on the ship, I could give 20 reasons why I love the ship ministry. But this is about the UK. The first reason, and this is in two parts, is that clearly God called us and sent us here. It was not in my original plan. The original vision or work was called Send the Light. It was Turkey, Afghanistan, Iraq, communist countries. And of course, when I got arrested in the summer of 61 in Ukraine, actually part of the Soviet Union, everything changed. As when eventually they let me go back to Austria, I went for that time in prayer, and God clearly spoke to me about Britain. I had seen a youth group in Vienna about the same time I was giving out tracts, and it seemed to take a long time to give out even 500 to 400 tracts. I thought if I could, and maybe that name came to my lip for the first time, if I could mobilize these young people, I could give out a lot of tracts very quickly. Out of that grew the vision, which came to me during that day of prayer, of Operation Mobilization, and to distribute 25 million pieces of literature across Europe by mainly Europeans. And with that, the vision to move to Great Britain, though I didn't know how long that would be. And of course, the rest is history. So number one reason, it was a God thing that I went to Britain. I did have a specific invitation to speak at that network conference in 62 around February, and that's what opened the doors for me to minister all over the country, which led to the first recruits giving us a little army, including people from many other places, to distribute that 25 million, launching out after a conference in Paris that summer. The next summer, we had 2,000. The second reason why I love the UK is because so many responded to the message. You know, if people love you and respond to you and join with you and give you financial support, how can you not love them? And I just thank the Lord for people who accepted me. Many were upset with me. Many did close doors. That never really bothered me much because there were so many open doors, so many new friends. And this particular talk I'm struggling to give is really all about people. My greatest love for Britain is linked with people. People I got to know, people who have been long-standing friends, some of them for 60 years. Really quite amazing. The third reason is because, and these are not necessarily in order of importance, the fantastic public transport system. I soon was using trains and buses, though we had an old car. Hosey Burks, who some of you remember, drove me around the country. But I'm still making maximum use of public transport. And I think for close to 20 years, I've had a freedom pass, which means the whole of London free of charge as far as public transport. And then the fourth reason is the whole heritage, the whole Christian heritage of this country, which I've studied and which I've received help and blessing because we're always building on what those before us laid as a foundation. And it is quite amazing how strong the Christian ethos has been here in the UK. And though there are many changes, it's still very, very exciting. My book, Messiology, really helps me understand, especially the colonial period, when so much good and so much bad was all happening at the same time. My fifth reason, of course, is linked with Britain being a historic missionary sending country. It's impossible to measure how much was accomplished through the great mission sending vision that took a while to be born in this country, pioneered by people like Hudson Taylor and C.T. Studd. I hope you've seen those films, and so many others. We can't, in this short blog, mention the names of so many people that have been an important part of that. And then the sixth reason why I love the UK, it's just sort of a practical reason, is that in the 100 nations I've been in, surely UK is one of the most organized. I know immediately someone says, throw a negative thought out about that because, of course, imperfection. And that's, of course, it's, as you know, what I'm desperately trying to deal with in my book, Confessions of a Toxic Perfectionist. And you really won't understand what I'm attempting to share now if you haven't read those books, which I'm just urgently trying to get people to read and give me feedback. And of course, I even supply free copies. And then the seventh reason I love this country is because of the churches, of local churches, thousands of strong, healthy or semi-healthy churches. I've spoken, I guess, maybe in close to 1,000 over all these years, if we count Christian unions and other types of meetings. You can imagine how much I've learned through that experience. We know there's the other side of the coin in that there are many churches that are not faithful to the word of God. They don't preach the gospel. Some of those have closed and even now being used for other purposes. So one was used as a furniture warehouse. But I think that in some ways is better than a totally dead church that's not sharing the gospel, not exalting the Lord Jesus. And I have to leave that challenge to when we get to heaven. And then my eighth reason is, of course, the strong Christian values that have been a part of this nation for a long time. That's a really interesting subject that I'm still studying. And if you read my last two books, you'll see how I've struggled with that, because so many positives and negatives are mixed together. And so many evil things have been done by every government in all of history. So the good is mixed with the bad. But I think even to this day, there are more Christian values being demonstrated, even by people who are not necessarily Christian, than people realize, because people are tending to focus on a few values that they had. And I think there's a lot of misunderstanding about it, which no longer are part of the official government legislation. And it does seem at times we're spending more time fighting darkness than we are spreading the light. But I'm sure my comments in my books about this will get me into difficulty. Ever since Constantine made Christianity official, things have been very, very mixed. And we've seen that recently with one of the head guys of the Orthodox Church being totally pro-war, which of course brought some fantastic discussion and controversy throughout the whole world. It's just such a challenge to see what's going on and to try to figure out where it all fits in. And my ninth reason, of course, is all the natural beauty. I've had the privilege of visiting at least 100 coastal places. My favorite walking places are the coasts, Pembrokeshire and Devon and Cornwall and up in Scotland. And I guess I've been pretty well to every part of the British Isles, and many times have been so encouraged by the natural beauty. And I think the British government, more than any government in the world, protects natural beauty. We have this National Trust, which I belong to, and the privilege of visiting so many amazing and historic places. And I look forward to, as long as the Lord allows me, to continue to have the privilege of visiting some of these places. And then the 10th reason, and remember, you'll get 10 more next week, is the tremendous health service. We've especially been aware of that during the COVID crisis. Enormous response of people to help, the extra mile the nurses, the doctors have gone. How easy it is for people to see mistakes. It seems in our culture, if you do 9 things right and 1 thing wrong, the only thing people will talk about is what goes wrong. We can't have a health system dealing with over 60 million people, tens of thousands of immigrants and people from all over the world, without at times serious mistakes being made. Wherever there are human beings, mistakes will be made. Some of you know my most famous George Verwer proverb, because hardly any of them are even written or read, that where 2 or 3 people gather together, sooner or later, there's a mess. I believe we should go back to this verse and not focus so much on the mess. We have a tremendous health system in this country. Of course, it's not going to get any easier with massive migration, with the enormous refugee challenge, which has been facing us for a number of years. Well, there's 10 reasons why I love the UK and love the people of the UK. And I look forward to sharing my second 10 when I'm with you next week. Spread the word around, and please do remember to, if at all possible, send me an email. God bless you.